I really need is one shot. Now they tryna get their hands in the pot. Damn, what you got? Grams. Where you at? Land. Cooking with the pan.
All right, so let's talk about Impact from April the 22nd, 2021. The second half of this video will be Impact Rebellion predictions. So I will probably, if I remember, put a link in the description so that you could just skip to the predictions if you wanted to. I hopefully won't forget to do it. But let's go through the show. Match 1, Decay. Black Taurus and Crazy Steve versus the Good Brothers. And the Good Brothers, of course, win. I don't understand why Black Taurus is losing so much. I know that he's part of a lower tier stable, which sucks. Because Decay has a potential to do more. But I don't know, man. It sucks for Black Taurus. I think Crazy Steve is the one who got pinned, but that's not the point. Taurus lost. So the Good Brothers get on the mic after they win. And Carl Anderson says, oh, for most people, 2020 was a bad year. But for the Good Brothers, it was the best year we ever had. And because of that, we got a little bit too comfortable. And FinJuice beat us for the tag team titles, and that gave us a wake-up call. Gallows says, like, yes, y'all took our good time for a fall-off, essentially. A fall-off. You took it. You think that we were, off our game. And he thanked them for beating them. And now they've remotivated the Good Brothers, and they're going to show them at Rebellion what they're going to do. I like this angle. I like the idea that, hey, we had such a good run in 2020 that we just kind of started fucking around, Of course, you have to act like, they got fired in 2020. Like, they was in the main event of WrestleMania, then got released, But at least they were in the main event of WrestleMania that year, so that's interesting. Throughout the night, they kept doing video packages about different people asking who's going to win, Omega or Rich Swine, and people kind of felt obligated to pick Rich Swine just because he's Impact World Champion and they worked at Impact. I'd have been like, man, who cares? Who cares, man? Can I get on Dynamite? Anyway. The second match was Susan versus Tennille Dashwood, with Tennille Dashwood coming out as the victor. Susan is partnered with, she's one of the two people who's partnered with Deonna Purrazzo. And Deonna Purrazzo is at ringside. So Tennille decided to cut a promo on Deonna while she was out there. And she says that, Deonna wanted somebody in the women's division to step up. So she stepped up. And she says that, I'm here. And I didn't just change things by being the influencer. I also changed women's wrestling. And she asked her to keep that belt real shiny because Caleb has already scheduled her photo shoot with the Knockouts title. So I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm actually looking forward to this. Tennille is a worthy opponent for Deonna Purrazzo. It's two heels. So I'm guessing Deonna is probably going to work babyface in this match because she's the one that doesn't need to cheat. Even though Susan is clearly a heel and she's a dickhead too. But Tennille is the kind of person who cheats a lot. She's that heel. Deonna is basically can outwork you. So I think that's the story that's going to go into. It's probably going to have Tennille cheating and that kind of stuff. The next segment had Brian Myers. Brian Myers talking about the promo with his match with Matt Cardona. He basically said that Matt Cardona is living in the past and he refused to live in the past. That Matt Cardona had a famous YouTube channel 10 years ago and he won't shut up about it. He won't get over it. He said that it's over. The past is over. Matt Cardona has been in his way for far too long. And he sees him for what he is, an obstacle that needs to be overcome. And then he's just going to give him a roster cut. And I was like, okay, I like parts of this. I like that, Matt Cardona won't get over the past. He won't let go of Zack Ryder. He won't let go of that. And that's kind of one of the bad things about your character being you, is that when people are tired of the character, they're also tired of you. And you have to some way reinvent yourself. And hopefully that's where we're going with this, is that somehow Matt Cardona is going to find some way to reinvent himself. Is that going to happen? Probably not. Next promo was Sami Callihan. Sami Callihan talks about Trey Miguel and how him and Trey could have ruled the world. They could have had everything. Now he's going to have to kick his ass and make an example out of him. And this Sunday or Saturday or whatever the damn day it is, I think it's Sunday, he's going to make sure that Trey Miguel never walks again. I don't know. See, look, here's the thing. I don't think you should make challenges or say things that you can't do. And that's one of those lost arts in wrestling. I think I heard Jake Roberts say it. Like, don't say something that's not going to happen or something that's impossible that people won't believe. And that's one of the things that I think that happened here. It's one thing to say that you're going to beat the shit out of this kid and stuff like that, but we've gotten too lackadaisical in wrestling where guys speaking hyperbole a lot. You will never see that asshole again. He will never come back. And it's like, but we know he's literally coming back. You know, like, it's one thing for somebody to have gotten released and for you to be like, I kicked his ass, got him out of here, and he's never coming back. Then people might be like, well, maybe he never will come back. But you saying that he's going to make sure Trey Miguel never walks again. It's like, man, we know Trey probably going to win this match. So, whatever. The third match on the card, Mahabali Shira versus Jake something. With Rohit Raju interfered and Mahabali Shira won. Actually pretty fast too. Jake should be a better, higher level prospect for him. I have no idea why they're doing what they're doing with Jake. But Shira, I guess, has got momentum again. Whatever. Nobody cares about these guys, man. Jake was involved in the Violent by Design storyline. It was a good opportunity for him. But doing jobs to Mahabali Shira is like, look, I would rather have Shira as champion than Rich Swine. But Shira is green as goose shit, and he's like 10 years in the business. I can't tell you. It's just not good. Now, this is actually very good. The next segment was really good. It's Trey Miguel with his coach, whose name I forgot already. I think it's K.I. or something like that. But this is Rocky. That's what this is. Trey Miguel is in his gym, and his coach is talking to him, asking him if he was all right. And then he says, Sammy Callahan tried to get under my skin. He broke into my school, broke into my home, put his hands on our kids. His students are his kids, so he called them our kids, which is really weird. And then, he said, the guy was like, look, man, the kids are all right. I'm all right. You got to go in there and you got to prove to Sammy Callahan. You got to beat him. You got to do, And he was like, why I got to prove something to Sammy Callahan? Like, I've been, the guy was like, you've been doing this since he was 16 years old. He's like, I've been working so hard and so long and busting my ass. Why do I have to prove anything to Sammy Callahan? And then the guy was like, you don't have to prove nothing. You don't got to prove nothing. You got to prove it to yourself. You got to become the man you were meant to be. You got to become the man you were meant to be, the man you started to be when you were 16 years old. And then we get this training montage of, Trey Miguel flipping over the big tire and taking the sledgehammer to the big tire and him, lifting the weights and everything. And I'm like, yes. Now, there is, an issue here with him in the ring with Sam Beal. Sam Beal was the guy who turned his back on the gym, So you kind of have to ask the question, all right, how, can you have slipped in something where Sam Beal maybe apologized or something so that we could get back on track here? But basically it was Sam Beal working out with him in the gym. It was great. And we had the music in the background and everything. It was a training montage from Rocky. It was awesome. We need to do more of this in wrestling. This reminds me a lot of the Iron Man match between Bret and Shawn. Or the matches that you would have with like Kerry is getting ready to fight Ric Flair. They would have these training montages where he would be in the gym, hitting the iron, sweating with his pals, like, Ric Flair, I'm ready for you in the Mid-South, in the Coliseum. I was about to say Mid-South Coliseum, but that certainly wouldn't be it. It would be whatever town that Von X were running. Anyway, it's real sports. It's good. It's also very movie-ish. It's really good stuff. I love it. There's also a video package for the X Division title, but that title match is mostly overlooked. And then we got a Rich Swine promo Where Rich Swine basically talked about getting smacked at the press conference and how, he's not going to stand for it. And he dared Kenny Omega to do it again and come out there and fight him. Rich Swine, man, he is just not convincing. Don Callis popped up on the big screen, says that they aren't in the building, but once they get the Impact World Title, they will be there every week. And Kenny Omega then said, "Oh, so people say I've had ego. I got an ego. And, he says that I'm a double champion, and soon I'm going to be a triple champion. I'm going to have 3 championships, 4 belts. Don, I'm gonna need a bigger house, a new bank account." And then he says that Swine's last day as Impact champion will be the most important day, because it's going to be the first day of Kenny Omega's title run. And then Kenny Omega gave him his good night, good luck, bang, or whatever the hell he says. And of course, Swine continued to mope in the ring and breathe fire. And then Moose comes out. Surprise, surprise, Moose comes out. Then Moose is out there and he's like, he congratulated Rich Swine on beating him, even though that was almost a month ago. Then he congratulated Rich Swine. He said he's going to give Rich Swine some advice. He never really did. Even though he kind of did give him some advice. We'll try to untangle that web later. Then he starts talking about, all the good things Kenny Omega can do, and Kenny Omega pinned Rich Swine. But he says, "Who made you feel pain? Who taught you what pain felt like?" And then he starts talking about how he is bigger, faster, stronger, and more skilled than Kenny Omega. But Kenny Omega does have these stooges that float around, these 3 stooges with him, so he needs to watch his back. And then he says, "I still wish you good luck." And he says, "If you lose, I'm going to make you pay. You're going to have consequences if you lose." And, then Rich Swann basically got at the mic and said that, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to win the AEW World title. And then when I do, I'm going to kick your ass again." And I was like, no, this was not effective. This missed the mark. I know they brought back Moose because, it was supposed to be meaningful. But I think that in bringing Moose back, this was an opportunity to do something fresh, where Moose should have come out there and motivated Rich Swann. Instead of talking down to him and threatening him, he should have been out there and been like, "I carried that TNA World title for almost a year because it meant a lot to me. Even when it wasn't recognized, it meant a lot to me. I respect that you beat me for it. And so I respect that you now are the caretaker of Impact and the TNA, the history of this company." That's what that belt represents. It represents the history of this company. The first decade, maybe, of Impact was TNA. Maybe the first 10 years. Until like 2012 or something like that. Then I think that's when Global Force and all that shit started happening. No, I think it happened in like 2013, 2014. So I'm still about right. It's still in the same area. Maybe 2015, 2016. I don't know. I don't know exactly. But I know the first decade plus was TNA, right? And that's the history that Moose wanted to represent when he had that belt. But now, the belt is with Swann. Swann is the caretaker. He has the physical history of Impact. He's got the Impact World title and the TNA World title. Moose should have respected that and says, "You're the caretaker of this company. A guy who beat me can beat Kenny Omega." And that's when he should have said, "I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm faster, I'm more skilled than Kenny Omega. I would have wiped the floor with Kenny Omega. If you can beat me, you can beat him. And you better beat him. And you should beat him." And then because you had the video packages going all night with guys like James Storm and Rohit Raju saying, "We're going to go with our leader. We're going to go with Rich Swann. He's the guy. He's our guy. He's an Impact guy." Moose should have been like the last one. The Vegeta to his Goku. The guy who could have been like, I can't do it, so you're going to have to. And he kind of said that, but he said it still in a heelish way. This should have been a face turn for Moose. And I think it would have been a lot more effective. Then, of course, he could have just turned back heel later. But this could have been very effective as a face turn for Moose. So that we can see that he actually does respect and honor something, which is the history of TNA, the history of Impact Wrestling. And that's what he wanted to protect. And now that's under threat because it could be swallowed up by AEW. That would have been a better way to do this. But that's not what we got. Anyway, Kiera Hogan lost to Jordynne Grace by disqualification because Tasha Steelz jumped in. After Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz jumped Jordynne Grace's mystery tag team partner ran down to the ring, and it was Rachel Ellering, who I have not seen probably ever. I don't think I was watching NXT when she was on there, so I didn't really see her in NXT. But they needed new faces in Impact, so I'm glad they got her. So it's going to be Rachel Ellering and Jordynne Grace in the tag team title match. Interesting. So Finn Juice cut a promo, basically said that they're tired of the excuses of the Good Brothers, and that then Juice Robinson called them big bald idiots or big bald babies, and they said that they're the best and they're going to prove it again when they beat the Good Brothers one more time. And I was like, you couldn't find two more plain planks of wood than Finn Juice. I mean, those two dudes are straight up just two pieces of drywall. They have no personality whatsoever. This is just so boring. They suck. Like this promo wasn't even long, and I was bored. Like just looking at them makes me sleepy. They suck that bad. It's just something about New Japan, bro. Like 90% of that roster, I just look at them and go, oh shit. Y'all really sitting here ranking Zack Sabre Jr. That dude put me to sleep. The main event was Eric Young defeating Eddie Edwards as, the big groups of Violent by Design and the 4-man teams fight each other outside the ring. Eric Young actually won this match with a small package, which was pretty much the only surprise. Eddie Edwards needs to hit the reboot with him. I have no idea what they're doing with Eddie Edwards. They need to hit the reboot button because it's not working. It ain't working. Him in these jorts, with this braided hair. It's been 3 years or whatever. This is not working. Maybe Violent by Design will change Eddie Edwards. He'll get him, and maybe they'll change him. Hopefully. So let's get into the predictions. All right. So let's talk about Rebellion, April 25th, 2021, 8 o'clock p.m. Let's go through the card. We'll give you my predictions. So, match 1, Chris Sabin, Eddie Edwards, James Storm, and Willie Mack versus Eric Young, Diener, Joe Doring, and Rhino. This match I don't know if it was announced as being hardcore or it's just an 8-man tag. In any event, I expect Violence by Design to win. They're not a hodgepodge of baby faces like the other team. I mean, it's just a hodgepodge of guys. I mean, nobody cares about any of these guys. Brian Myers versus Matt Cardona. Now, this match is actually interesting. I did kind of like what Brian Myers said on the show about Matt Cardona, but I think Matt is probably definitely a bigger star and a more important player to Impact. So I think Matt should probably win. Plus, he got beat by Sami Callihan, so he got to get his win back. Last man standing, Trey Miguel versus Sami Callihan. The video package that Trey Miguel did for the Go Home show was stupendous. It was very good. And I think he can win this match. Sami Callihan doesn't need to win. He doesn't, I don't think he's going anywhere, as far as, is he going back up to, is he going to be wrestling for the world title anytime soon? Probably not. But Trey Miguel might be, so I'm going to go with Trey Miguel. And plus, you can always push Trey Miguel to the X Division title, I guess. So I'm going to go with Trey. The Impact Knockouts Tag Team title, Fire and Flavor, Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan versus Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering. Uh, the thing is, I think Jordan Grace is on her way out. I'm not sure that she's on her way out, but I think she is. I think I still want to go with Fire and Flavor though. Rachel Ellering is I haven't seen a lot of her, so I can't tell you if she's a game changer or anything. But I do like that they're bringing in new women. So I'm gonna go with Fire and Flavor. The Impact X Division Championship: Ace Austin versus Josh Alexander versus TJP. To be quite honest, Ace Austin should just retain here, and then he should wrestle Josh Alexander 1-on-1 and drop the title to him at some point in the future. I'm okay with Josh Alexander winning. I just don't see why it's a triple threat match. Why do we need TJP? What do we need him for in this match? Yeah, I mean, if you've been listening to this channel for a long time, you guys got to know that one of my pet peeves is triple threat matches. There's almost always somebody that nobody cares for in that fucking match. And to me, it's TJP. Why the fuck is he in this match? Moving on. The Impact Knockouts title: Deonna Purrazzo versus Tenille Dashwood. This is two heels. They've done nothing to show me that Deonna Purrazzo is a babyface. But she's going to come into this match as the more babyface of the two because she doesn't need to cheat to win, while Tenille usually does cheat to win. So that's going to be the closest thing to the heel and babyface dynamic that we're going to have here, is that Deonna not cheating and Tenille who likes to cheat. So I'm going to go with Deonna. I think this is probably going to be one of the better matches of Deonna's run. She's been having some pretty good matches, and I think this one's going to add to it because Tenille, for all of the sloth that she's kind of have as far as not working as much as she probably should be, she's still pretty good. So I'm gonna go with Deonna though. I don't think there's time to take the title off of her yet. And I don't think Tenille is the one to take it. The Impact World Tag Team Championship: Finn Juice, David Finlay, and Juice Robinson versus the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. I definitely think that the Good Brothers are going to win here. I don't see the benefit of Finn Juice winning the tag team titles and then disappearing for a month and then coming back and losing the belts. But that seems like a very Impact thing to do. I wouldn't have given them the belts in the first place. But, especially if they were going to be gone for a month, it just doesn't seem to make sense. They didn't have a run. But then at the same time, Impact didn't really have a tag team division. Like there was nobody in their tag team division. So, basically hijacking the belts was a way of motivating the Good Brothers, which I guess is cool. But I definitely think the Good Brothers are going to win those titles back. And there'll probably be a third match at some point in the future. But to be quite honest, it probably should be, well, I shouldn't say that. I can't say that anymore. I was about to say it should be the Young Bucks versus the Good Brothers here, and putting the Impact and the AEW World Tag Team titles together, which they should be doing. They should be combining all of the titles while we're here in this position, except the TNT and the X Division. But like the two world titles and the tag team belts and the women's belt, all that stuff should be on the line. If you're gonna do a big, huge, head-to-head event, I don't see why you shouldn't do it. Do a big, huge head-to-head event. If you're going to do a title-for-title match, it should be on a big head-to-head show where all of the titles can be on the line. But, too much. Anyway, I'm going to go with the Good Brothers in the tag team title match. Title versus title: Kenny Omega versus AEW World Champion. Is the AEW World Champion versus Impact World Champion, Unified World Champion, Rich Swine. So there's only two options for this match. Option one: Kenny Omega wins. He wins 4 belts. He's going to have 4 belts. Or this match ends in some type of schmozz finish in which nobody wins. And I think I think that the likelihood is about 60-40. I think 60-40 Omega. I think Omega wins more often than not. Rich Swann has 0 chance of winning. Tony Khan is not going to put his belt on Rich Swann. It's not going to happen. But Impact might be dumb enough to put their belt on Kenny Omega. And I think that's far more likely. Or they're going to do something where they're going to end this match without it being a clean decision. And I mean by that is probably going to be like a count out or disqualification or something like that. Now AEW has been averse to these types of things, to these count outs and disqualifications. So I expected it to be a lot of chicanery around it, some skullduggery in the air. Probably you might even have Rich Swine get screwed by Tony Khan. But this match has been very oddly built because there has been almost no build for this match coming from the AEW side. There have been Rich Swann has not made any appearances on AEW. He has not cut a promo on AEW. AEW does not promote this show. So this tells me either they're not going to give them the title, or they're just going through with this to give Impact a big buy rate, and nothing's going to come out of it. They're going to screw everybody by not having a non-finish. But I'm going to personally say Kenny Omega is going to win the title. And just like they don't really promote AAA, they're not really going to promote Impact either. They're going to spend, AEW, like this partnership is going to help Impact only in so much as Kenny Omega might impact their ratings and impact their buy rates on their pay-per-views, but that's it. They're not going to have those guys on AEW show to cut promos, to talk, to do anything. They had weeks and weeks and weeks to build this up. They have not done it. Impact has been making it seem like it's the most important match in the history of their company. And in some cases it is. But by God, AEW has not cared. This has been secondary, not even secondary. It's been tertiary, because Kenny Omega's doing other things. Just like, that AAA Mega Championship doesn't mean anything. At least AAA, you could say, is a tag territory where it's all about, the 6-man, the trio. The best you can do is just basically say, oh, well, Mexico doesn't care about it anyway. So that's my guess. My guess is either it's going to be 60% Omega wins, 40% the match ends in no decision. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Go to the description, subscribe to the channel via Subscribestar, send cash via the Cash App. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe, like, hit the bell for notifications, and always follow 3Count Commentaries, the hashtag, to stay in touch with what I'm doing. And I'll thank you guys later.